Hello there and good evening. Today I want to show you some of my past projects, mostly knit ones but also crocheted. I personally enjoy knitting more, but I do enjoy also a crochet project once in a while, and so I have some of these and some of that. So let's get into it. So I'm going to start with some of the dresses that I've made. These all are actually made using patterns, tutorials from online. So I have this one, and this dress are made exactly the same way, with the top part being made in 1 knit 1 purl rib, and then the bottom is just knitting it around with adding stitches over here so that it makes it a bit poofy on the bottom. Now for the hem, so here I just made a plain few rows of garter stitch so that it shouldn't roll up, but here I made the hem like in the tutorial, which makes a very nice edging over here. And then I added buttons, so those are these dresses. Then I made this dress. It looks very complicated, but once you get a hang of it, it's very fun and very easy to do. I'll put a link of the tutorial I used in the description box. The tutorial actually has the sleeves made a bit differently, but I made them like this, and this came out very nicely. I especially loved the collar. It just adds so much and it's so cute. So that's this one. And then this one is actually made in crochet. All the other ones were knitted, and this one was crocheted. There's the top part, and then there's this very nice like net bottom, and then these flowers that are so cute. For this one also I used a tutorial from YouTube. I'll have it linked in the description box, and it came out very nice. Next up I have some sweaters. So first of all is this one. This is Waffle Stitch crochet, not knitted, it's crocheted. It's a waffle stitch, and I made it with colorful yarn. It came out very nicely, although I still didn't add the buttons. I made buttonholes, but I didn't yet put the buttons themselves. This one was very fun to make, and I really enjoyed doing the waffle stitch. I really love how it comes out. So that's that one. Now these I made using Savor yarn from Ice Yarns. I made them with stripes of different colors. Here, let me show you in the inside. You can see the line where I changed the colors for the stripes. So I made basically, it was 8 rows of blue, then 1 row of brown, 1 row of blue, 4 rows of brown, and then again 1 row of blue, 1 row of brown, and then another 8 rows of blue. And so I made this very nice striped, interesting striped pattern. This one was also made, of course, my favorite, raglan, top down, and then adding the sleeves. And then I added the hoodie. And so I made this in blue and brown, and I made another one in these colors, the orange and pink. It was very fun to work with and very nice, and very quickly actually to work up, because it's very thick yarn, so it came out very quickly. Now this one I made using the knitting machine. Basically what I did was I made a whole bunch of different columns in the round, you know how the knitting machine works up. And then this is all double layered. I don't know if you could tell, it's very thick because it's double layered. I made a bunch of columns and then connected them for the back, and then connected the ones on the side and for the front. And then I made the sleeves, which are also just one column, and I ended everything off by knitting by hand with the ribbing here on the collar and on the bottom of the sleeves. I might make a tutorial on how to do this with the knitting machine, but that will probably be closer to when winter starts, because now it's just too hot to work with such thick yarn. Then I have some, I don't know what it's called, rompers or overall or whatever that's called, which is basically one piece. So I have this one. See, it's with short sleeves and short legs. I wanted to make it originally all in this dark purple, but I didn't have enough, so I had to add a different color, and it actually goes together very nicely. Of course, in raglan, as I like. And here I made the button band in garter, and in middle, just to add a little bit of a design, I made a few rows of knit one, purl one in the middle, and that makes the nice design there in the middle, so it shouldn't be just boring all the way down. And that's that. Then I have this one that I made all in Garter Stitch. I don't know if you could see, but it's basically here. It's 2 rows, because it looks like 1 row, but because it's garter, it's actually 2 rows. 2 rows of yellow, 2 rows of orange, alternating throughout the whole thing. One thing I did do here, which I'm very glad I did, after I finished, the side over here was very loose from Garter Stitch by the edging here. Here you could see on this side it's still very loose. I just left it like that. But here it was very loose, and since this is the side that you see when you button it up, so what I did was I simply took a crochet hook and just crocheted all along down here and also on the collar, and it made such a nice finishing edge and made it so much neater, and I really like that. So that's an interesting thing on this one. Then here I made a whole set actually. There's the overall. This one I followed a written pattern. I'm very bad at following written patterns, but it came out pretty nicely. I put these on the bottom to be able to open it, and I made a matching hat. Yeah, that pom-pom was not great. And I made matching socks also, so it's a whole set over there for this one. And here I have just plain simple pants that I made in the round, just going all around. And for the band, what I did was I just knitted, plain knitting, not ribbing, a few extra rows, a bunch of extra rows, and then I folded it over, and inside I put a piece of elastic. So like this, I made it a nice elastic edge for the pants. And this is the overalls that I made. This one I made entirely in seed stitch. Yes, it was very a bit of grueling to work with because it's so much, you know, knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl the whole time, but it came out very nicely. And then I made these bands for the overalls to make an X in the back. Let's see if I could figure this out. 1 second. How do you make it? Here. There we go. That's how it's supposed to be worn. Here I have a little hat that I made also on the knitting machine. Just a very plain, simple, take a tube, close it up, and then you have this little hat. Very sweet, very cute. That's that one. And here I have some small, it's not even a blanket, it's more like a little piece of cloth. This one I made doing squares of knitting and purling. Let me show you that close. See? Like a checkerboard of knits and purls. Yeah, this one wasn't so successful. The bottom came out very flared and the top was much more tighter, but it came out cute. And this one was a kind of scrap blankie thing. I made a bunch of these small squares of garter stitch. Oh, actually, this is the right side here. That looks better. A bunch of garter squares, and then I put them all together, and it came out very cute. Next up, I have these vests, which I made in gingham pattern, which means I had 3 colors. For example, this one, so I had the green, the pink, and a ball of yarn that was green and pink combined. So I made it in intarsia, see here on the inside. So basically I made the first box with combination of the mixed one and then pink and mixed one and pink, and then when I got the amount of rows that I needed, then I changed to green and mixed, and like this going on, and that's what made this very nice gingham pattern. This one I made the ribbing around the bottom and the buttonhole and around the top. I made it with seed stitch, which is 1 knit 1 purl. You can see the seed stitch, and the other 2 I did exactly the same thing. I had 3 colors of it, also all intarsia, but these ones I made with the ribbing and the button band and all that. I made it with 2 knit 2 purl, like that. And there's this one and this one. I made them in different sizes and it came out very nice. Here we have some more crochet items that I made. There's this very cute little poncho. It's very easy to make. It's made with granny squares, and then for the edging you make these shells, and it comes out very sweet. I believe I used again a tutorial from YouTube, but I made this so long ago I don't even remember which I used. So that's this one. Then we have this vest that I made with linen stitch. The crochet linen stitch is basically you crochet one and then you chain one, and then crochet and then chain, and then in the next row into the holes of the chain you crochet and then another chain, and it makes out this very nice pattern. I think it's also called the rice stitch if I'm not mistaken, and I made this vest with it. Then I made this set, which is made with just plain double crochet. So there's the sweater top, and I made pants to go with it. Yeah, you never really know when you're making for a small child how big of a thing you should make in middle, you know, for the diaper or whatever. So sometimes it comes out too big. This one I think was a bit too big, but it's fine. It fits a little girl just as well. That's this. And then I have this hat that I crocheted also using basically the way you make it is you make a long rectangle with you crochet into the back loop instead of the front loop, which you usually do. You crochet into the back, and then it comes out this very nice like rib, and basically it's crocheted a big rectangle like that, and then you close it and you can fold it up like that, like a cuff for the hat. And then I added the pom-pom, and it came out very nice. And now let me show you some of the things that I made for myself. So this one was a crochet sweater. I did it from top to bottom. I did the crochet raglan. It's exactly the same idea, just in crochet. I made purple and pink stripes, and then on the bottom I made a ribbing of front post and back post, and I did that also on the sleeves. And this one also I made a button band, but I just didn't yet get around to putting the buttons. And that's this one. This one I made with, it's called Horseshoe Cable, which is basically two cables, one to this direction, one to that direction, and I made them two lines across the front and also on the sleeves, in the middle of the sleeves, like that. And all the rest is just plain knitting and around. So that's this one. And lastly, I have this one, which is a top, short sleeve top, also just plain knitting. This was a self-striping yarn, so I didn't even need to change colors. The yarn itself changed the colors, and it came out very nice. This one I made doing when I reached by the raglan, where I needed a little bit before I needed to take off for the sleeves. I made the sleeve part ribbing, and so that instead of taking off for the sleeves, I simply just casted it off already, and I had already the sleeve finished. So that was a cool thing. It saved me some time afterwards. So that was a look at some of my past knitting and crocheting projects. I hope you enjoyed watching that. And I've seen that with every project you get more adept and more skilled, and you discover new things and you learn new things, and it's just so much fun to discover and to improve and to figure out what works better, what's less, and it's just very fascinating. I hope you enjoyed watching. All the best!